Hey there quilting friends, it's Carolina Moore, your favorite sewing and quilting YouTuber, and today we're doing month 4. That's the April block of the month for the 4-patch block of the month. If you are new around here, go down to the description. There are links for everything that you need to be able to join in. And if you want to get sewing, let's get started. So I already have my pieces cut out here, and it's a square and a square block. And I'm going to start by taking all these triangles and then just pinching them in half. And I want to give them a good pinch right there so that I have it marked where the center is. So I'm just folding all of these in half, giving them a crease. You do want to get the actual middle. So here we go. Come here. I always forget that I have reading glasses and that maybe I should use my reading glasses and it'll actually help. Okay, reading glasses on. That'll make this a little easier for me to see for sure. Giving these a quick pinch. Okay, so I've done it with my blue and my background. And now for these squares, I'm going to fold those in half as well. And I'm just going to fold it in half one direction right now. Because if I fold the other direction and pinch those already, that pinch will likely get ironed out when we go on to a future step. Okay, so I have all of these marked. And now I get to sew the half square triangle onto the square, and I'm lining up those pieces. There we go. Or I'm lining up the folds. And those triangles, the points of the triangles, they're going to stick way out. That's okay. They're supposed to. Look at this. I'm lining up the fold marks, the crease marks, and those points stick out on both ends. Totally fine. So I'm doing the background triangles onto the blue squares, and then I'm doing the blue triangles onto the background squares. If you're a person who likes to pin, you can put a pin right where these two folds overlap. Totally fine. But I'm not a person who likes to pin, so I won't be doing that. Okay, so once we have a triangle on all 4 sides, oh, I could have gotten my cutter out, but I didn't. Okay. Once I have a triangle on all 4 sides, I'm going to repeat this process, Once I have a triangle on one side of all 4 pieces, I'm going to put the triangle on the other side of all 4 pieces, making sure that the triangle color stays the same. So blue triangles on the background squares and background triangles on the blue squares. Done with those. Let's switch over to this one. There we go. Let's use our little chain piece and cutter this time. There we go. So now we have all of our we have half our triangles on. Actually, technically we have a quarter of our triangles on, but okay, who's counting? We have a triangle on each side, and we're going to press our seams out. And as you can see, if we would have had those creases on our squares, they would have gotten uncreased at this point. Because of this pressing. This pressing would uncrease those spots. There we go. Last one. Okay, so I have my blue squares, my background squares. We are going to go ahead and press these again. We're going to line up those seams. Let me do this so that you can see a little better. There we go. We're just going to line up those seams to be able to find the middle and give it a little crease on the top and bottom, just like before, so we have our marks. And we're going to do that with all 4 of our square piece, our squares with triangles on them. There we go. Okay, so background blue, blue, background, and we're just going to do the same thing again, adding these triangles to our squares. I have my 1/4 inch foot on my sewing machine, so it does like to kind of bump up against that little dog ear that we're going to be cutting off in a little bit. So just lift up your presser foot if you have a presser foot with a 1/4 inch guide on there. So you'll see right there, it's going to start bumping up against it. Just lift it up. You can lift it up another time if needed, and then just stitch those on. So we're going to do the same thing as before, stitching the pieces on, stitching the triangles onto one side of each square, and then stitching the triangles onto the other side. Alright, blue, background, last set of triangles. Okay, this time I'm grabbing my big scissors because I'm going to be cutting off all the dog ears on all these pieces. So right here and right here. Just cutting off all that extra fabric. It's going to make for a much nicer seam. It is also going to cut off all these threads that I have going on. So I've got some threads hanging out. So those are all going to get cut off by this as well. This is something that if you prefer, you could do with a rotary cutter and ruler. I think it's faster like this, and it's really obvious where you're cutting because you're just cutting off that corner and making it even with the rest of the fabric. So it's not something that you need to like measure with a ruler. Okay, we've made more of our quilt confetti. So I'm going to move that out of the way. And now we can go ahead and press these units. We're just pressing in the other direction. Oh, now we're just pressing these out. There we go. Pressing the seams all out. Okay. So now we're going to put the background next to these blue triangles and the blue next to those background triangles. And we're going to do the same thing again. This time we're going to crease our triangles just like before, but we do not have to crease our block because we're going to know where that center point is, because that's where the seam is. So that'll make that nice and easy. Okay. So those are all creased. Let's crease these real quick. Okay, so all those have been creased. We can take our triangle and we're going to line it up with that seam, that point in the seam right there. Yep. And now we're going to do the exact same thing as before, stitching a triangle on either side, pressing, stitching a triangle on the opposite two sides, or the remaining two sides, cutting off those dog ears, and then pressing again. So let's get through that real quick. There we go. Other side. Now if we've done everything right, these will be 6.5 inches square. So you can measure those out and see how well you did. You can square them up to 6.5 inches. So, I mean, that's pretty good, not too bad. And we're gonna lay these out. There we go. And now we're gonna sew our 1 row and our 2 row, and then we're gonna sew our 2 rows together to finish our 4-patch block. Okay, so we're pressing in opposite directions, but really, as we've kind of discussed before, that means we're picking one direction for both units. So in this case, they're both going towards the dark. And that will mean they're in opposite directions when we lay these back out. Okay, so I have my 4 pieces. So we have our 2 rows. I'm going to stitch these rows together. All right, here we go. So we've got these seams going in this direction, these seams going in this direction. That's going to pop up in the center, which we can then press. With a block like this, there's a lot of seams going on the back. So I usually just kind of get it started on the back and then give it its good press on the front. There we go. This is our April block, all finished. That's 4 months done. A third of this quilt is already done. It has been so fun making this. I can't wait to share next month with you. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. If you're not subscribed, what's stopping you? Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you know when I have new quilty videos for you. And if you need any of the links or information about this series, the 4-patch block of the month, go into the description. All the links, everything you need is right there. Thanks so much for watching, my friends. I will see you right here real soon. Bye for now.